As we kick off this Can We Coexist series, we're going to start by talking about Christians and atheists. And it just makes sense to start off by talking about what does it mean to be an atheist? And there's the spectrum, right? Because there are some atheists who make very definitive and firm statements saying there is no God. It's a clear, I know this. God does not exist, and it is foolish and it is intellectually stupid to say God exists. On the other side of the atheism spectrum, you have agnostics who just say, you know what, I don't know, and you can't either, that it is impossible to know whether or not God exists. And so for most atheists on both sides of the spectrum, most atheists live as pragmatists. That means that their practice, right, that their life is up to them to determine, that you need to do what you need to do, that God is not going to come in and help you out and fix your problems, that your life is in your own hands and that you need to be responsible for your own self. And I think this is a lifestyle that many Christians actually adopt in some ways that are contrary to what it means to be a person of faith, right? Have you ever thought about that? That what difference does your faith actually make in the way you live? And if it doesn't make any difference, then do you actually have faith, or do you just make intellectual statements about God, but you don't actually believe them to be true? And if your ideas about God are actually just ideas, but you don't actually trust God to help, you don't actually trust God to do anything, then what makes you as a Christian any different from an atheist who says there is no God, or who says you don't really know? But as a Christian, I live differently because I believe that God is real. More than that, I believe that God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to live a perfect, holy life, to die on the cross as my substitute, and to take the wrath of God for my sin that I earned from the evil and sinful things that I've done. He took that judgment on himself so that I could be forgiven. And I live differently because of that. I live with a sense of freedom, that I don't need to prove myself, that I don't need to earn anything from God, because I've received grace as a free gift through Jesus Christ. And so how do I live differently because of that, right? That I don't have to prove myself. I can give my time and my effort for other people's good without wondering how it's going to come back on me. That I can live with confidence in days of quarantine and coronavirus, because I know I have a Father in heaven who loves me so much that he gave and sacrificed of himself so that I could be his son. And so the way that God cares for me as his child, the way that God sets me free to live in this world makes a very real impact. And so I want you to think today about atheists, about atheism, about the spectrum of it, and how sometimes we as Christians can slip into living the same way as an atheist. And so here's the question for today. Is your faith in God real faith, or is it just a set of ideas that you have learned and memorized and that you believe up here? But if you don't live differently because of what you believe about God, if you don't live differently because of what you believe about Jesus Christ, then do you have faith, or do you have ideas about Jesus?